Why did you wait, David?
I think I did, and all of us here, Shambra,
Yes.
out of our love of humanity,
Yeah.
we knew that this was going to be an intense transitional time
Yeah.
and that we could be of service.
Yes.
At the same time, there's also that nagging doubt within us that, we frigged up
Right.
and should have taken the easy road, and we doubt now
Yeah.
if,
Like the early bird gets the worm, or
Well-
something like that. It's like should have done it back then. Yeah.
so there's...
I'd like to, yes, and I'd like to address that, David. Thank you. It's a very good thing, being here to serve humanity. It's written in the Kabbalah. Yes, Linda, microphone again. Hey, keep you running.
And if I said serve, that was just due to my nerves being up in front of all of you. But what I meant to say was our love, our deep passion and love for humanity and for Gaia.
Yeah. Okay. And that's a valid reason. It's a valid excuse. But let me give you a little history on that. Going back about 500-600 years ago, it was the commonly accepted in spiritual circles, mystery schools, everywhere, that your ascension, your enlightenment was dependent on everybody else. It was in vogue at the time. I'm not going to go till we're all ready. It sounded great. And it was very, very popular. And it's the way most of the spiritual organizations were run. And it was that way, actually, up until yesterday. No, but I'm saying there's a history to this. There's a philosophical, spiritual belief in that, and most all believe that way. The few who did not were basically thrown out. We're all doing this for all of humanity. Well, an interesting thing happened. I came along. And truly, I was the first one to speak out against this. On very, very practical terms. I remember the long debates that we'd engage in hundreds of years ago. I was actually a little unpopular for a very, very short period of time, believe it or not. David, the history has it that it was in vogue 300-400, going back as far as 300 or 400 years ago, that we're all going to do this for humanity. I forgot who started it, but I would smack them down if I had been there and known, because everybody bought into it. It's a nice story. Do you realize how long it's going to take for everybody on the planet to become enlightened? First of all, there's new ones moving in all the time at a very rapid race. 1,000 lifetimes they might have to go through. Okay, let's cut it down to 700. Are you going to wait for them? And then their babies. And then their babies. Oh. So I proposed at a gathering of some of the embodied masters at the time. I said, how about it's a sovereign journey? Whoa. How about we stop focusing on this mass, everybody's got to go first, I'll be the last one through the door, captain's the last one on the ship. Crap, the captain should get off the ship and go find a boat to come and save everybody. I don't understand that mentality. So I proposed back then, I said, what if we get off that program of, no, what do they say, no one, the last one left behind? No one left behind. Leave them all behind. It's a better program, because I proposed. I said, what if 1 or 2 or 5 come through into enlightenment? There was a silence that fell over the room, kind of like what's happening here. Yeah, then what, Adamus? I said, let's say there's 5, and they stay embodied, and they walk the earth without running around saying, I'm enlightened, but just walk the earth. And they become a standard. Because you know how many people believe that they will have a spiritual realization in this life? not many. They have no hope. They have old stories of old masters. They have no hope. So they don't believe they can do it. They're waiting to go on the other side for answers and salvation, and most of them believe in either in heaven and hell or something in between. So they wait. They don't believe that they can do it. But if I put 5 here on stage or out walking in the park, at the shopping mall, at an airport, 5 that don't have to say a word from their mouth, but their charisma shines, that will make the difference. And then there was a in the room with the other masters. They weren't quite ready to buy it because they were invested or addicted to their old way of thinking. But I said, just what if? What if we didn't have to do channeling anymore? What if it was the human that stood here that was the realized master? Wouldn't it be far better than waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for all humanity? Wouldn't it be better for them to have actual examples? Still is not a terribly popular idea. Still, most groups will do the kumbaya thing. We have to all go. We have to all be one. No. I can tell you this, for you, still watching, still writing, I tell all of you, little secret, and it's one of my favorite topics, not oneness. If you're looking for oneness, this isn't the place. There is no going back to oneness, like going back to God and we'll just all sink back into God. No, actually, there's really no God, but that's another topic. There is, but not the human God. I'm so sick of that human God. It's a God rant, okay? Just let me rant once in a while. But there's no going back to that oneness. There's no universal oneness. We are all one. Yeah, we all have similarities. But you're not. You're sovereign. You're sovereign. A sovereign being has a much better perspective and compassion to all others. Much better compassion to everyone else for their journey, for their way, for their uniqueness, for their diversity, versus one who's trying to go back to one. The person who's trying to go back to one is going to try to make sure everybody else does it their way. That's hell. I mean, that is hell, literally. Because they're imagining going back to some cloud of oneness, but they want it to be their way, in their likeness. So you can imagine the conflict it causes when they're trying to bring everybody else into oneness their way. It doesn't work. You're sovereign. You're not going back even into your own oneness, because you're going to discover, and particularly we're going to focus on this in Kihak, that you are not one. You are many. Absolutely. You're not going to sink back into some fluffy cotton candy soul that does everything for you. It's not there. Just like God is not there, the soul is not there, because those are human concepts. Those are human constructs needing a savior. We're not going there. We're going to go into the many of you. The many, 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 many of you. And that's such a freedom, such a blessing. Okay, I digress, but I do it intentionally.
Is this a warm-up for your June presentations?
I'm only 10% of the way through our discussion here today. So,
Sounds like a warm-up for June?
I'll explain to you in a moment. Next question.